Okay, good evening to all of you. Uh, I think I made this presentation a couple of days back before I came here, but after listening to the various deliberations that happened in the last 2 days, I think some of them are redundant because a lot of discussions have gone in. But still, with my experience in the field of higher education, I will try to share some of the observations which make some sense to the audience here. So actually, if you look at, maybe I was just thinking a while, what are best practices? I mean, do we mean to say the practices that we are now using are not best practices? Or what do we mean best practices for the future? I think none of us would accept that the practices that we are having today are not good. But still, I thought the reason why we are sitting here and discussing on best practices is evolution is part of the day. That means in every field of education or any other field, evolution is happening, and as such we need evolution in higher education also. And that is the reason why we are pondering on what are the best practices in higher education. Maybe last couple of days, as I was telling earlier, we have been discussing a lot of things on what are the challenges in higher education. Maybe some of them that which came to my mind are the infrastructure that we were talking about. Even yesterday there were a lot of deliberations on government colleges having poor infrastructure and deemed universities having excellent infrastructure, and the utilization factor, how far these are utilized to the extent that we want. That is a big challenge that we are facing. Then we spoke a lot of things on qualified faculty, shortage of faculty, why we are not able to attract good faculty. I think I am not going to talk too much on that. Then curriculum revision and introduction of courses. I mean, being part of board of studies and being part of discussions on curriculum change and introduction of new courses, always it becomes a very lengthy discussion. Whenever we want to add a new course, which course is to be dropped? There will be several people fighting across the table. Why should we drop a course? This has been there since 20 years. Why should I drop this course? What is big in this new course? This is the thing that happens. Ultimately, we will add a chapter in some of the subjects and see that this content is delivered to the students. So while doing so, what happened was, you still have 14 weeks of lecture and your chapters are increasing, and maybe at the end of the day, the teacher ends up, while covering the syllabus, stressing, you want to cover all the syllabus, which means you will spend less time on some of the topics which are very, very essential. Then introduction of courses which are industry grade or whatever. And industry, if you go and ask industry, every industry will give a half a dozen courses. These are very important. For his business, they are important. Then we are not, in universities, I don't think we are training a student to work, for a specific industry. We want to we want to impart knowledge to the student. That doesn't mean we are training a student for a particular industry. So that is where the challenge is when we are trying to introduce courses in the curriculum. Then adaptability to new teaching learning methodologies. And today I think there was a lot of heat on what are new technologies, why should we go to new technologies, what are the old technologies, what is the lacuna there. And still, whenever we are trying to get into new technologies, I think we need to slowly transfer the new technology into the curriculum. Even just earlier, Chairman AACT was telling how many of us will watch a TV channel for more than half an hour without changing the channel. Maybe if you go for virtual learning, ICT based learning, all these, how many of you would take that lesson? Maybe when you go to a movie, you sit there and watch, but when the student actually watches a video lecture, I don't think his attention is 10% or 15%. I strongly feel it will not be more than 30%. I tried to ask this question several students and they were telling, sir, virtual learning, it's not very effective. When the teacher is there, somehow he is delivering, we are receiving. Okay. Then societal pressures. I mean, today if you look at even I will again refer the same thing, 75% of the students are going into professional courses, whether they have the aptitude or not. Ultimately, I mean, you see 20% of these first year students pass their exams in engineering. And all this is because of societal pressures. Maybe you find lot of jobs in engineering and everybody is going to engineering, and maybe higher education today means most of it is engineering education. Then lack of flexible approach. Flexible approach in the sense, okay, you go to engineering, then you want to do a management and engineering together. I don't think in most universities we have that flexible approach. Maybe interdisciplinary studies, you want to do energy and environment or something like that. All these are not possible. Then the other one is higher education versus employment. We have been talking about PhDs, MTechs and all these. And if you really look at how many students end up going to MTech, I don't think the number is very good. There is a lot of demand for engineering seats, but when you go to MTechs, it is not there. And even myself, if you look at I was talking to somebody in the industry, what is the average salary of a BTech graduate? BTech graduate average salary with computer science is 6 lakhs. What is the average salary of MTech graduate, MTech student? It is much less than that. So when you do higher education, you should get a better job, better salary, but unfortunately is not getting. That is the reason why people are not attracted to employment. Then if you look at the education pyramid, whether it is engineering or elsewhere, the pyramid is inverted. Inverted in the sense, say for example, you look at engineering. You have ITIs, polytechnics, BTechs, MTechs, PhDs. If you really look at the ITIs and engineering colleges, we have more engineering colleges than polytechnics. We have more polytechnics than ITIs. Exactly, it should be the other way. Even in nature, if you look at plants are more, primary consumers are less, tertiary consumers are less. That is the pyramid, it works. But unfortunately, in our system, it is exactly inverted. Then you have equity issues. And finally, there is a conflict between industry and academia for several things. Just now I was referring about curriculum. Industry says, I want this skill. The academia says, this is the knowledge I am imparting to the student. You try to get that skill from the student. Couple of days back, I was listening to a speaker who was telling, say for example, in this room, you have one professor, one industrialist, and suddenly you find a specimen. These two people look at this specimen and start pondering. The professor will start thinking of what are the characteristics of this specimen, what is its nature, what is its constitution, all these, structure and where is it related, all these are the questions that come into the mind of the professor. But whereas if you look at the industry person, he starts immediately working. Where can I use this specimen? What is the business value of this specimen? So this is the conflict. When, see, you train a student and you try to impart knowledge in higher education. But whereas in industry, this fellow wants how productive he is. Day one, first hour, first second, maybe if you split second also. So that is where the conflict is. The other one is, even in terms of salaries, even in terms of packages, there is a lot of conflict between academia and the industry. Industry, because it makes business, it offers big packages, whereas we don't do business in education, you don't do big packages. So then, coming to the next one, what are the best practices? Maybe some of them I would like to helping students to embrace learning. What is learning? So generally what happens is, when you teach a subject to students, most of us, when we teach students, we are working on a diversified group. I think the Vice Chancellor was telling, we have different grades of students in a class. So there is nothing like one thumb rule which says you teach this way and everybody will receive it. There is no thumb rule. The teacher has to be innovative. Now, I am not talking about innovation in industry or innovation elsewhere. How do I deliver this particular topic to students? That is very, very critical. That is one thing that we have to do. Then deep learning. Say generally I had a student who came to me for employment. Yeah. I just wanted to see what is his depth of knowledge. I asked him what is a step-up motor. Immediately 2 minutes he gave some answer. Then immediately I asked him, where do you use step-up motor in practice? 2 minutes I gave him time. He could not come up with one application. So that is where we are. Okay. Then concept of self-learning. See, many times we teach so many things. We were talking about teaching, beyond classroom. But what is self-learning? Most of our students who go to universities abroad, they do a lot of self-learning. They are very effective there. But when it comes here, even if you leave a small topic, he says, sir, you did not cover that topic, we had a question there. I think we have to change the mindset of the student. Then the promoting rigorous and reflective thinking. So don't think in this bandwidth. I just was referring one simple example. Not only application, what are the existing applications? You should think about what can be new application also. That is where we should drive the student. Then multiple roles of faculty. I think all of us know that I am not going. Then the last aspect that I would spend is, my time is up, mentoring. Today all of the faculty members need to mentor the student. That is the biggest challenge. Coming to a class and teaching operating system is simplest task on the earth. Maybe if you want to mentor, or maybe if you get a handful of 5 students and you mentor these 5 students for me, I think you will have to do research and then mentor them if you have to do a good job. So that is where, good faculty and faculty who have passion to, teaching should come and should take up this job. So that is the biggest challenge that we are facing today. Then use of educational technology, we spoke a lot of that. Assessments also, we spoke a lot of that. Association with industries, yes, we need to have association, especially to deliver real-time projects or to give hands-on experience to students on real-time projects. Promotion of research and innovations, internships and collaborations are the other things that we have to think about, how to introduce them to the students, how to get them there. But here also there are challenges. Do we have enough industries to see that all internships are offered? That is one big thing that is happening. So with these few words, I think I gave some ideas for us to think about, and maybe wherever possible we have to incorporate them. So I thank eINDIA for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.